welcome to today's session. We'll be talking about Power Platform industries in Africa and the future of local development in Africa. So my name is Shadrack Kiprotich, and I'm one of the Power Platform user group lead. I'm glad to be hosting this session with great industry experts that we have on this call. So let me just take them to just introduce the agenda for this session so that we can be able to get to know our speakers and what they have for us. So first of all, the agenda is just to have a panel discussion to discuss about the future of Power Platform industry, tool, and also the future of local development, since we all know most of the business right now are digitizing all of their platforms and embracing digital transformation. So that's why the need for having just this discussion to see how these industries are going to embrace these digital technologies to be able to run their business. So that's just one of the agendas for this call. And also you can also be able to familiarize yourself with Power Platform technologies. So enough for that. So let me just introduce our speakers. So we have 4 speakers on the call, and unfortunately, one of our speakers was not able to make it. So we've got another replacement. One of our speakers is called Bronson Smith. Is a Power Platform advocate and also a software developer. And then we also have Ola, a senior cloud advocate at Microsoft. We have Someleze Diko, cloud advocate also at Microsoft, and Gift Ahmed, Microsoft Learn student ambassador from Nigeria. All this we have they're from Africa. So let me just take this chance to have them introduce themselves before we can begin the discussion that we have ahead of us. So I can just start with Bronson. Perhaps you could go first. Introduce yourself before we get to the discussion.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, hi, Bronson. We can hear you.
Hi, Bronson.
I'm Bronson from Kenya, based here in Nairobi. I'm a Power Platform dev, formerly a software dev too. And also I do a bit of other things to do with cloud productivity solutions, apart from utilizing, leveraging on Power Platform. Hope we'll have an interesting engagement over this workshop. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome so much, Bronson. So we are so much glad to host you. We can go to Ola.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, okay. I'm Ola Niwaju Inboke by name. I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm a Microsoft Senior Cloud Advocate. Proud to join Microsoft. I have worked as a data scientist. I worked as a data analyst. I've worked as a Power Platform adoption specialist, and the last role was a data management specialist. So I have quite a number of enterprise experience in the both low-code and even data technology space. At Microsoft, I'm in charge of Power Platform, data science and machine learning, as well as Microsoft productivity tools. Thank you.
Wow, that's a great portfolio. Someleze. So Someleze is going to be in for Gomole Mohapi. He was not able to join us, so we'll be having Someleze to take over. So Someleze.
I hope everyone can see me properly. Awesome. So hi everyone, my name is Someleze Diko and I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft. But before I became a cloud advocate at Microsoft, I was a Microsoft Learn student ambassador. And also before acquiring the current job that I have, I worked for about a year as a Power Platform developer at a local company here in South Africa. So I'm a cloud advocate for the Microsoft Power Platform at Microsoft, and I am currently based out of South Africa.
Awesome. So, and like last but not least, we have Gift Ahmed. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so like let me see if Favor is on the call. He's one of our speakers.
Hello.
Gift is here.
Unfortunately, I cannot be able to see one of our speakers, Favor Adeshina. So I guess like once he can be able to join us, we can also proceed. So just like getting to know you. So like you are all Power Platform developers. So let's just get to hear about like how did you get to know about Power Platform, and also what's your experience about Power Platform? Because like there is also like always a beginning. So perhaps you could just touch a little bit about your experience of like using Power Platform, and also like why did you go for Power Platform and not any other stack in the technology industry? So I don't know like which order are we going to follow for this, but like just randomly we can just Ola, mind going first?
Yeah, sure, sure. So, Gift, I think there's a background noise heavy from your hand. You can go mute. Okay, good. Right. So, in 20, actually, prior to starting off as a Power Platform developer, I was a data analyst, business intelligence analyst in 2018, and I was using Microsoft Power BI to build visualization. So what that means is I've hardly touched all Power Platform, but I had no knowledge. I didn't know that it's part of a family, and as a matter of fact, it was until November 2019 when Microsoft added Power Virtual Agent. That was when they pronounce the name. Oh, we're going to call all these suits now Power Platform. So literally they were existing as a silo solution. And so I never had idea that I was learning something that's part of a suit. And so I used Power BI, 2018, 2019, up to 2020. And even to today I use it. But in the year 2020, during the pandemic, and we were working from home, businesses were shutting down. There were a lot of processes that we could not do, we could not work on because our solutions were on-premise in that organization. So if you, for example, want to book a policy, you need to use an application, and that application is on-premise. And at home, you cannot connect to that application because you are not connected to LAN. Is either use VPN, and cost of VPN is high. They cannot give VPN to everybody, and not even everyone has laptop. We used to use desktop from workplace. So organizations are still trying to sort out how can we get some critical role, how can we get them laptops so that they can keep working from home? Because some people were literally at home not doing anything because they don't have their work tool and we don't have laptop enough for them. So in the midst of that, you can see a lot of chaos, and some businesses shut down, they could never come back up again. So I was thinking to myself, what can I do to support this organization? And okay, employees are no longer productive now because they don't have all the things they need. So how about we starting with a frequent check-in, say monthly? Managers have a monthly call or check-in with their employees, and they can pass their feedback, and HR can see everything at the back end just to be sure are they meeting their target or not, and what are their challenges. This way they are listening to employees more frequently, and they can, without someone saying anything, the data is there to speak. That people are complaining about this thing mostly because they can see that across the organization through what they do. And so they talk to me about it. I'm not a software developer, and you cannot even ask our development team to do that because they are focused on supporting core business applications and maybe helping one of that to be available online. So the cost of moving it online is a whole lot of projects. And I went online, literally went online, and a week to that time, I watched a video of Fuyolajide Bello. Is a Nigerian. She's a Nigerian, but she's not in Nigeria now. I interviewed with Donna Sakta on YouTube, where she talks about Power Platform, that she did something as telling back. If she did something with Power Platform, let me go and check. And the need was always around that time. So I went online to browse, Power Platform, how to do something like this in Power Platform. I was seeing so many solutions. Okay, Power Automate, okay, Microsoft Forms. That was how I picked up. Okay, let me use Microsoft Forms. So you fill your check-in details on form. Power Automate will route it to your manager and all those things. And the data is already in Excel. And then the response and the comment approval details, let me pass it to that Excel. I wasn't even using SharePoint list. I don't know SharePoint list. So that was how I built the first solution. It was a little bit buggy, but it worked and it served the purpose. And going forward from there, then it was a different story. But that is the entry point for me.
Oh, that's great. So like it came out of. I'm sorry for that. So like it came out of discovery. So yeah, that's so like so much encouraging. How about you, Someleza?
Yeah, definitely. I can go next. So I just want to check. I'm not the only person who is getting Shadrach a little bit laggy. Anyways, so in terms of
kind of.
Okay, no problem. So in terms of my experience around the Power Platform, I am not as experienced as Olarawanju, but I have some experience here and there. So for me, my Power Platform journey actually began in 2020. So obviously when the world was thrown into a disarray and everyone was going into lockdown, there was COVID-19 and all of those things. So my story is a bit different in terms of Donna Sakar. It's a bit similar on that sense. Donna Sakar was in South Africa for Microsoft Ignite the Tour before COVID-19 hit, and she was doing a presentation around what the Power Platform is and the different capabilities that were there. And a close friend of mine was attending that event, and also Khomolemo was also part of that event. And then they came back to Durban in a different city, where they actually spoke about the Power Platform, and they said Donna Sakar introduced this new technology where people can write and build automated solutions and build applications without writing any code. That sparked my interest, where a business partner actually approached me and said, at the time I was not a business partner, but I was a person who was learning under him, so he was my mentor. He asked me to build a solution or an application using the Power Platform for a organization that is within my university at the time when I was still a student. So I took upon the challenge and I was like, challenge accepted. Let me build this solution. Let me build this mobile application for this organization using this technology that I have no clue about. And I built the application and I was learning while building something. So it was much more of a project-based learning experience for me around the Power Platform. But right after building that project and releasing it to the organization, because they wanted to automate their timesheet capturing process. At the time, they had a very traditional, when I say traditional, they had papers where they were capturing their timesheets and they were capturing their time entries around the activities they're doing on the organization. So we automated that using Power Apps and Power Automate. And then right after that, because I was also part of the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors program, I then carried on with my Power Platform journey because it sparked much more of my interest, because I was looking at how mostly in South Africa we would look at stuff around graduates not being able to attain job positions within companies here in South Africa or even internationally. So I was like, probably if we build solutions using the Power Platform, we can actually solve certain problems within those big companies or within companies so that they can use the Power Platform, because obviously they still are using traditional systems. So I carried on learning about the Power Platform, just doing events as a student ambassador. It then later came to me around 2021, where I had worked with a fellow student ambassador from South Africa, and we were actually solving a specific business need within our university, Durban University of Technology. They needed a mobile application that would automate another process within the university, and they wanted to actually keep track of the community engagement projects that were being done by the university staff and also the university students. So we then came together to actually think about how we can actually build a Power App around that. And we built a Power App, and obviously I can share the links to that specific blog that the university wrote about the app. So we built the Power App and the university started adopting it. And because that specific app was solving a very specific need, the university loved it. They adopted it much more faster than I actually thought from the beginning. So what happened was within the university, they would have community engagement projects for students, also community engagement projects for staff. What would then happen is that students and the staff within the university would do those community engagement projects. Then now the vice chancellor of the university would then require reports around those community engagement projects so that they can see and allocate specific resources on specific projects that need those kind of resources. So you'd have a process where students are working in silos and they have their own projects, but now they need funding, but they cannot get that funding fast enough because obviously it takes a while for the vice chancellor or the higher ups within the university to see what they're doing. So we built that community engagement app using Power Apps and Power Automate, and it actually put everything that was being done by the students and also by the lecturers within the university onto one centralized place, and they were able to actually see what kinds of projects are going around the university, and also they were able to pull dashboards and reports using Power BI, and they added in a little bit of an element where we actually used ASP.NET or obviously C#, where we're building those reports. Obviously now the university was able to make business decisions on how to allocate resources to those specific projects. So then when I saw that specific project coming to life, I then carried on having this fire growing under me, saying that carry on building projects, building solutions using the Power Platform, because you can see how powerful it actually is. And a lot of people within South Africa don't have any awareness around the Power Platform. And I think even Africa as an entire continent doesn't really have huge awareness around the Power Platform and what it can do. So I was like, let me dedicate my time to learning about the Power Platform because I can build this projects and I have built the solutions. And I actually do not want to be building the solutions on my own or with my friends. I want to build the solutions with others from across the continent, across the world, where we can actually come together and solve specific needs because a lot of people need to acquire the Power Platform skills. Why? I had one idea around it. A lot of companies within South Africa, again, South Africa was much more of my example, where they would retrench specific staff or specific people within the company because those staff members or those employees don't have the necessary skills to carry on with their job. And that would be a very huge problem within South Africa because now you have unemployed graduates and also you have a workforce that is being let go from their current job positions, which is now the unemployment rate is actually increasing and going much more higher and higher. And when I looked a little bit much more deeper around what was going on, it wasn't just the company letting go people just because they want to let go people, but it was much more around the company letting go people because they do not have the necessary skills to stay in the company. So for an example, if the company is adopting the Power Platform and they want people to build solutions to automate specific processes within the company, and they are looking at their employees, the problem would then arise because no one within that company have the necessary skills to use the Power Platform. And then the company would then let go of those employees, hire new people, which would be a very, very taxing process for that company. And it will actually take a lot more from the company's side, obviously the budget, and also would take more from the employees because you're losing your job. So I was like, let me teach people around the Power Platform and build the solutions using the Power Platform and teach people, because obviously for you to be able to teach others, you need to teach yourself first so that you know what you're talking about, and then you can give that information, that knowledge onto others. So that was my idea around using the Power Platform and teaching people about the Power Platform. And also, just like Olaruanju, I also built more solutions around trying to automate specific processes within universities. There's one frustration I had with my university previously on our previous year in 2021, where they had a specific health check that you needed to do before you can access university facilities. So that health check was a bit much more of a problematic thing, where you'd have to run a USSD code on your phone, or you have to click on a specific link to have that specific platform presented to you. That problem would then, obviously, you're a student, you have a lot going on, you forget about the USSD code, what it is, you can't dial it on your phone and you want to access campus, or you can't find the link. So for an example, if a friend of you shared the link with you on WhatsApp, and then you used it the first time, now you have to use it the second time, what would happen? Is that what's going to happen is that obviously you guys are having conversations more and more every day, that link ends up getting buried. So for an example, for people who haven't saved it on their notes, they would not be able to access that link if they need to access campus. And then there would be squabbles around the access points within campus, around the security guards and students, and it will cause a lot of frustration. So I just built a COVID-19 app using Power Apps, and also automating some processes using Power Automate for that specific app, so that we can be able to share it widely with students from the university. How can students access that application? They would just have to have Power Apps Mobile installed on their phone, then just go on Power Apps Mobile. They'll see the app at the top because it's pinned to their dashboard or to their profile, and then access it and be able to do their health check and present it to the security guard. So there's a lot of moving parts around that app. That actually inspired me to carry on over and over again to build solutions, which then brings me to my last point, is that I was then employed by a local company in South Africa, where they are using the Power Platform to build solutions for their clients. And when I saw that in action, because at the time when I was learning about the Power Platform, I was still a student. So if you are a student, you then come up with your own ideas of how to build an app or build an automated solution. But that solution would be limited because you are thinking from a student's perspective. You are not actually thinking from a business requirement perspective. So when I got into that company, I was able to see how the Power Platform is being used by companies and being used by their clients, and how you can build the solutions using the Power Platform. So I saw opportunities becoming endless, because I thought I can build 2, 3 apps with the Power Platform, but now I can build much more solutions based off of specific requirements that come from that business. So basically, the reason why I have been experienced with the Power Platform, it's only because I love the Power Platform, and also because I love empowering others and upskilling others using the Power Platform, because I feel like if we can grow a very good population, a very good interest into the Power Platform within Africa, you will see that Africa would then become the top continent around the Power Platform, around Power Platform skills. And obviously, some of you guys can end up building your own companies and employing more people around the Power Platform. So upskilling others and then giving back to your own community.
That's been an amazing story. So Melinda, regarding your journey so far with Power Platform, and how you started, and how you use the skills that you've built all along through your, for example, schoolwork, and how the practice that you've able to gain through the skills have been able to translate into your work life, and how you've used those skills now to get into Microsoft is really amazing. I'm not sure if Shadrach is still on the call. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
I'm here. Sorry for that, for network hitches. So yeah, that's a great portfolio, Someleze, and it's something that you said
I think the network is doing the thing again.
Learning when like last case it's popular to go to Bronson. So
Hello. My experience is an interesting one. For me, I had no clue. I had never heard of Power Platform, but then it was not called Power Platform. It was Microsoft Business Application something. At the time, I was still in campus, and there was strike. So at that time, I got then there's a mentor. Someone was mentoring me in tech, who then called me and gave me an opportunity so that start working with him. So first, my role when I was acquired the startup, it was to build a system. So my first role was develop the database, and from there now develop the system. But then an opportunity rose where now we had a client to the company that wanted to automate their business processes. So I was just thrown under the bus, taken to the company, given the business requirement, and the guy left. And I didn't know anything to do with Power Apps and everything. So I did actually for my first project ever on Power Apps. It was I learned on the job because I use now to Google everything as I work. And remember, at that point, I was under supervision of the project manager of the client. So you're supposed me to have something running, yet I'm a newbie. I have no clue of whatever I'm working on. But yes, you have to fail. They say you fake it till you make it. So I had just to fake that I know what I'm doing. And from there, that's when I started learning and understood now the platform and the technology. Then from there, that's when I was able to finish the first project that was a travel application, travel request application for the company. So I managed that, and it had a lot of logics, but I was able to go around and maneuver around with it, and I was able to achieve all the logic that were required. Then they gave me another project that was they needed to archive the invoices. So basically, they are trying to have at first they want data visualization for their business decision making. But at first, we advise them to have a data collection points, because you cannot just start having data that is scattered without and start trying to analyze and come up with visualization. So the starting point from, for instance, they wanted to track all their invoices from previous years to the current years. So they had to, so we had to now integrate the scanner, the OCR scanner, to SharePoint, so that all the invoices that have been scanned, then they are being archived and retained on SharePoint. So it's now develop workflows on, back then it was Microsoft. It used to call Microsoft Workflow. Now it's Power Automate. Then I used Power Automate to do that. I was able to achieve that. Then from there, that's when I kind of now graduated to the market. I started getting different things here and there on Power Platform. Then from there, I've had a couple of clients. I've retained the clients from the place I was at the internship back then, and now that's how I found myself having different tasks and different projects in many ways, especially during the COVID period, where companies realized that they needed digitization within the organization to save time. And that's where at least I dabbed and submerged into more and discover a lot of things around Power Platform. So it's been quite an interesting journey. And as I say, we keep learning each and every day as we move on to this. But I'm looking forward to many and more organizations and enterprises appreciating the usage and trying to leverage on this platform to build more sustainable applications. Thank you, Shadrach.
Wow, that was great. So it's something that you learn on the job. So it's quite interesting that like most of the people get to learn something on the go. Same case to Someleze and Ola, you all launch Power Platform like while you are working, and also like basing yourself on real life projects that you are working on. So, and like something that like to like our next discussion about the industries in Africa that are using Power Platform. Numbers don't lie. So like we have about like 65% of the world's GDP is predicted to be digitized by this year. And then we also have like 55% of the startups that exist in Africa have already adopted digital business solution. So like now, like my question to the speakers is that like how best can these industries in Africa embrace these digital technologies such as the Power Platform to digitize all their businesses to just stay relevant in the business environment. So like for this, we just getting to know about like the best practices that the industries can be able to leverage on these tools to be able to stay relevant in the business environment. And for the sake of time, we can just like have like 2 minutes from each of the speakers, like just talk about these particular question. So like we can start with Someleze this time round.
Okay, that's actually a good question around how does companies within or industries within Africa can use the Power Platform and embrace the Power Platform into their businesses. So around that, in terms of what I can say, it depends on the company itself. So for an example, you'd have companies like the one that I worked for before I joined Microsoft that build solutions for their clients using the Power Platform. And then you'd have other companies where they just use the Power Platform to actually increase productivity within their teams. So if the company is actually looking at building solutions for their clients, then obviously they can utilize the Power Platform and start to actually engage with their workforce around their employees and getting them those skills around how to actually build apps using Power Apps, or how to build automated solutions using Power Automate, or even the entire Power Platform itself. In this sense, they would be able to actually not spend too much time, or obviously we know time is a very great resource and very valuable resource within industries or within businesses. So they wouldn't spend too much time trying to look for talent outside the company, and also waste money. I don't want to say waste money, but obviously focus on trying to upskill the people that are already there, and obviously giving them opportunities and room for improvement where they can grow. So here, the company would then benefit from getting clients who want to build, or who want the solutions to be built for them, and obviously pouring in money into that company. And then the second part is that employees get an opportunity to improve their skills and also stay relevant within the organization, because obviously with the Power Platform, you don't necessarily just build solutions only for clients. You can also build solutions within the organization that actually increase productivity. So in a company where they just want to increase their productivity amongst their teams, and they want to have a much more solid platform or a solid solution that is built, not even outsourcing other workforce or other employees or a contractor, but that is built by the employees. So I'm speaking from a perspective where I've seen this happen in one of the companies, where they actually took time to actually have a POC project that would then be used within the company to increase productivity. As much as they were building solutions for their clients using the Power Platform, they're also building solutions for themselves to actually be much more productive. This way, it will show to their clients that they're actually serious about the Power Platform, they know what they're talking about, and they're actually utilizing the Power Platform. So in terms of staying relevant, by using the Power Platform, obviously technology is ever evolving. It's not necessarily using the word staying relevant within the industry or within their business, but it's much more trying to increase their productivity as a team, and also trying to increase the productivity of their own clients. As much as they will be trying to make money, but they will also be trying to build strong relationships with their clients, because obviously a client would then obviously have that solution built for them successfully. And then right after that, because they understand the power that one company has using the Power Platform, whenever they speak to their peers or have business functions and a specific company needs a similar solution, that company that has had the Power Platform solution built by one of the companies would then refer that company, which increases that business's popularity around their profile and also around their Power Platform skills and workforce.
Yeah, that's amazing. So like it's all about productivity and also like saving the resources that goes into the business. Ola?
Sorry, can you help me repeat the question? So that
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so like, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
Okay, so like it was just like getting to understand like what's just the best practices that the Power Platform, the industries in Africa can leverage on Power Platform to just stay relevant in the business environment, bearing in mind that like most of the business currently are undergoing digital transformation, and it's very necessary to undergo also like a digital transformation. So like how can they leverage this tool of Power Platform to be able to do that?
Good. Thanks. So let's put it this way, and I'm going to relate this to my experience, my previous experience with Power Platform Solution. And let's put numbers to this so that we can also understand clearly what is happening here, and we'll narrow it down to Africa. Okay, so first, we are aware that there's an in demand, and it's been projected that in the next 6 years, there's going to be about 500 million new applications to be built. So don't get it wrong. So just think about millions of new applications. Why? Why? Because virtually every organization today wants to automate and accelerate their digital transformation journey. We know since the lockdown, we started seeing many people who now want to automate manual processes because they know it is not sustainable to keep doing things the way we used to do it before. So we need to find ways to automate it. For you to automate those processes, you need to build solutions and applications. And your traditional development team are already doing enough, more than enough. They are short-staffed, and right now we are having skill drainage in Africa because companies in Europe still locking down to this 500 million things. They're actually coming to Africa to employ our people. They pay them huge sum. They relocate some of them. And some leave Nigeria, some leave Kenya, some leave, South Africa, other parts of Africa. And what that simply means is that the need is universal. The need to automate our processes, the need to digitize our processes is universal. It's not only in Europe, it's also in Africa. And the skill that we have, limited skill we have in Africa, are still being exported to other parts of the world. So naturally or literally, many companies will not be able to meet that need because the short-staffed technology team they have now cannot accommodate all their digitalization needs. And the good thing here is Power Platform is right there to solve some of these challenges. So your ability to embrace Power Platform. So I believe that Power Platform is the escape route for organizations in Africa to be able to achieve their digitalization needs. Because literally, the period it takes to learn and become a Power Platform developer is short compared to who want to become a full stack developer. And it's something you can start learning and building solutions from all of our experiences. We build our first solutions under 1 month. If you start learning today, in 1 month, you have built something that can be used, enterprise level. However, if it is a software development, you start learning, you cannot even do that kind of thing under 1 month, and you cannot even do it on yourself, on your own. You need infrastructure team to support, you need backend guys to support, you need a lot of things. So what I'm saying here is that every businesses in Africa needs to start looking at how they can take advantage of Power Platform to achieve their digitization needs. And we've seen a lot of instances. in the previous places I've worked and some people I've consulted for, I've literally seen how operations activities from HR, payroll management, employee check-in activities, all those manual processes, leave, check-in process, everything is being automated up to the point of finance, reconciliation issues, up to of technology projects. Some tech projects are there, but you can actually solve some of them with Power Platform. So why literally queuing them in the backlog that might take more than 1 year before someone even lay their hands on it? So Power Platform is going to be a growth tool for businesses in Africa. It's going to be a great enabler because for them to achieve that digitization needs, you would not get that by employing more developers. They are not there again. They are scarce. They have to be found. They have to be replaced. But that Power Platform, embracing Power Platform, can allow them and help them to achieve that same goal by using an alternate development platform. So it's a relevant skill. And how will they be able to see them now? Now that, okay, assuming a business is listening to this, okay, so I cannot get a good replacement for technology team. I have more processes to be automated and more solutions to be built. We are talking about Power Platform. Where are the people? Where can I see them? And that is the opportunity that we need to start learning and put ourselves out there so that businesses can see that you can do it. Okay, come and do it for me. So it's a growth opportunity in Africa. As businesses are now looking towards it, they will start. You don't, in fact, the demand will continue to grow. You don't need to be the one literally, forcing yourself. The challenge will be, do you have enough skill to match up? Do you have enough people who are actually prepared for the opportunity that is coming up in Africa now? So that is my submission. There's still a lot of questions, but that's what I'm going to start with, that organizations need to, there's a need already. They will start, and they need to start looking at Power Platform as the alternate solution to achieve their digitization needs. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Let's have Bronson also talk about this.
Hello. I think my colleagues have exhausted almost everything. I'll add just a little on top of what they've said. The key point is productivity, and organization in Africa should focus and look towards productivity. And as Ola has said, organizations should do a comparative analysis basing and comparing, like for instance, hiring a full stack developer and having a Power Platform developer. You'll see there is low investment and high return solution. I think that will be my baseline. Organizations and enterprises in Africa should focus on that low investment but higher return solutions. That way the company saves a lot. It's cost beneficial to the enterprises and even to the skilled, that is the skilled human resource required to have this solution being developed and being used in the entire enterprise. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Bronson. So what we've just discussed is it's all about why we need to have this platform as a tool for digital transformation. And also for the next kind of discussion, we are going to discuss something about something called fusion development. So Meleza mentioned something about they were using ASP.NET and also kind of the programming languages in cooperation with Power Platform to build solutions. So what usually happens with fusion development is that those with knowledge about programming languages, that is the pro-code developers, and the citizen developers, that is now the low-code developers, can be able to come together and be able to build solutions that can be able to enable the Power Platform developers to create business solution that can be able to solve a problem. So what usually happens with this is that a citizen developer can be able to identify a problem that a business undergoes, and then they build a solution. And what these traditional code developers can be able to do, they can be able to create software applications that can enable these citizen developers build around the Power Platform technologies. So like it's kind of a supportive way that they can be able to engage, and also it enables the organization to be able to focus on other things that are more important to the business, other than putting all efforts on one side. So like just a question about now, like what will be the impact of this collaboration between the citizen developers and also the Procore developers? If they can be able to work hand in hand, what is the likely future about their developments, and what can be their impact? So like we can start with Bronson today, and then
Okay, thank you, Shadrach. I think there's importance of the fusion development. I've had scenarios where a power platform is needed, and a power platform developer is needed, and an institution where a pro developer is also needed. You find in some places, as much as power platform can be used and cheaply within an enterprise, you'll find out there are still some gaps on Power Platform where you need to have custom development of solutions. I've heard a scenario with these city, one of these technologies that have been developed. They wanted a communication channel, and they wanted a communication channel that can run on top of Teams and also be able to be integrated as an outside application outside the Microsoft. So what we needed now to have a developer who understands the system that they had, so that we can have an easier time in doing the integration. So I do appreciate fusion development, and it's highly needed. Pro developers and system developers, they can coexist and help each other in developing more solution and sustainable solution for organization, because you will find that most citizen developers, most are not or the ones that are the budding citizen developers, most are not picky. They're just people who are curious and be able maybe they open a video and decided to build one or two things. I think it was 2018 or 2019 or so during Ignite, where it's just a random employee within an airport in London, who came up with a kind of solution that helped a lot and solved a lot of issues within the airport. So for such a person without a CS background, there are things, there are hurdles that he or she will face, and maybe in terms of need arises for issues like customization. You'll note that in developing some certain connectors in Power Platform, in Power Automate, because sometimes you need to develop your own custom connector. And for any citizen developer, many can't develop that, and there needs for a pro developer to come in and help them out. So the collaboration is needed. We need to coexist. We are not as much as we are advocating for more citizen developers, we also want the coexistence of developers, pro developers, to come in and work together. Because I've heard that's the first scenario for the city, but I've also heard another scenario with a school management system, where they want to utilize Office 365, and they want also to utilize part of Power Platform, and they also want a custom solution, school management system, to work also well integrated. And you will find that if you yes, you can have draft the architecture of all this system, how it should work, but you cannot dedicate and delegate this job to a citizen developer, because some might have not all the skills. So, but when you form a team inclusive of the pro developers and citizen developers, you find that the work becomes easier for a sustainable solution and a sustainable development end to end without any glitches. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bronson. So like something about the traditional code developers is that they build web APIs to be able to be consumed on the Power Platform. And since Power Platform has got about more than 275 data connectors, so regardless of where your data is stored, you can still be able to access them. So we can have, yeah, so like we can have all also have input about that.
Apologies, could take some time for my mouse to. Okay, but can you? Yeah, see me. Yeah, awesome. So let me quickly address the point of the meeting point between the pro developers as well as the citizen developers and how they can work together and get more things done. So let's look at it this way. Everything we do in Power Platform, which is called local development, is a function of a pro developer from a dedicated team who put out solution. What do I mean by this? Within Microsoft, there's a technical team. This guy writes a lot of code, and they were able to simplify the entire interface in such a way that you can go there, you can just be clicking and dropping, but what you're clicking and dropping is a solution that someone somewhere has written some set of codes that make it easier for you to interact with. I see the meeting point of pro developers, of course, there's a keyword for that, which is called fusion development, where pro developers meet with citizen developer. But the benefit or the win here is simple. In Power Platform, we use what we call connectors. We have over 700 of those connectors today. And if you use Power Automate a lot, you always use actions, triggers and actions. All those things are connectors. They are rather API that someone has wrapped a UI UX around, and all you just have to do is to point and click, but at the back end is calling an API. So, and we have several other applications today. Speaking back to accelerating the digital transformation of Africa, we have several applications today without API. And so what that means is citizen developer cannot build solutions that can speak to them because citizen developer have no idea how to create those things. So a good point of, meeting point for fusion development is where you embark on the project, for example, with your core business application in the workplace, and you don't know how to even connect to it because there is no API for it. And the pro developers build API and build a connector, and that is their input. Oh, you want to post transaction to our core business application, and because it's legacy application and pro developers can build API, they build API and turn it to connector. All you just have to do in Power Apps or Power Automate is to connect to that connector, give it the parameters, and your application is working. So you see, that is one easy way where pro developers can work with citizen developers to be on a fusion development project. Both of them coming together make fusion development. And this is a huge gap because we need more applications, more connectors, and naturally, pro developer can use Power Apps to build application faster, but they might not want to consider that as a career. So the easiest way for them to meet is, okay, continue to write your code, but build a connector for me. Building a connector is as simple, is more or less the same technical work they're still doing. They love doing it. Oh yeah, build a connector, create an API and turn it to a connector. It's not hard. They can do it. But you can do it, but you can use it. So I see that as a great meeting point and a huge opportunity to have both pro developers and citizen developer working together to make fusion development. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ola. So like we can have some have also an input on this.
Yes, so on my end, I do not necessarily have much to add on because my previous colleagues have actually already spoken to what fusion development is already about and how obviously citizen developers and professional developers can actually come together. So in this case, obviously in the perspective that Ola has just mentioned, this is literally how citizen developers and professional developers can actually use the Power Platform together. And the whole concept around the fusion development, it's more around, again, which is the same thing that we kept saying, which is productivity. how do you actually get your teams within your organization, within your company to work together to build solutions instead of having isolated teams? Like, for an example, we have developers within the IT department in certain companies, and then we have, let's say, HR staff or HR employees that deal with just HR staff. In terms of fusion development, this is where you can actually bring them together. For an example, if you build a solution around, that's centered around HR and you are trying to make a better productivity app within your company and you're building an HR solution, you don't necessarily have to have your developers to build the entire solution on their own, because in certain aspects they would then need the insight from an HR department perspective, where they actually give them the requirements and obviously the process that they follow to complete specific tasks or specific processes within the organization. So now, instead of just having those developers building the application or building that solution, you actually have HR employees building some aspect of that solution. And just like Ola said, you have professional developers now bringing in the concept of how to build an API and how to build custom connectors within the Power Platform. And obviously, the reason why this exists and obviously custom connectors within the Power Platform exists is to actually speak to specific applications that don't necessarily have any API or have any connectors within the Power Platform. And in most cases, where you are a professional developer or you're a person who doesn't have a technical background and you want to build this very cool solution that you think would be needed within your organization or your company, you would have specific limitations on how you can actually build it in terms of, now I'm a citizen developer, I know nothing about how to build an API or how to build a custom connector. Now I would need someone from the professional developers team where they can actually bring in their own insight. So the whole concept of fusion development is actually getting those teams working together to build one centric solution for that company. So with everything that's been said, I'm just reiterating what my colleagues have already spoken about.
Okay, thank you so much, Someleze. And what just Ola said, like we need more people to build these data connectors. And I don't know like if Julia is on the call. So like there is a ongoing hackathon that just got started yesterday. It's called 30 Days of Fusion, where it involves the traditional code developers building up data connectors that don't exist or improving that are currently there. So like I don't know like if she's on the call, she can be able to touch on this like later on, so that like you can be able to be part of this program by Microsoft, where you can be able to build these data connectors, these web APIs, to be able to be accessed by the citizen developers that we already have. And if she's not on the call, I'll be able to share the links on the chat so that you can be able to be part of these 30 Days of Fusion, which got started yesterday. So, and for this other bit of the session, I'm going to invite my co-moderator, that is Cyrus Niramu, to be able to take over from there. So Cyrus, you can take over.
Okay, Shadrach, thank you so much. It's getting a bit dark here, so I'm gonna hit it off with the next question. So it's gonna be like a wind down. So we've talked about so much. We've talked so much about how the business implications are of Power Platform and how we can use it to leverage it in organizations, how we can use it to save businesses money, and how we can use it to automate and simplify processes that were once tedious. But I have a question, like, apart from business perspectives, do you use Power Platform as a personal tool for productivity? And if you do, what are some of the cool things you've built? I've seen like Samuel Adranyi, a Microsoft MVP, he's built some crazy stuff, like you have no idea. From starting his car from his Power Apps, on his phone, he can start his car. So it's like the ideas are limitless. You can do anything. And I think I'll start with Someleze. I'd like to know, like, apart from business applications, what are some of the cool things you've done, and how can we use Power Platform outside business perspectives to create cool stuff? For example, things that the community might need. Yeah, thank you. Let me hand it over to you.
Right. Thanks, Cyrus. So for me, I would like to not necessarily say I had any cool projects personally that I built for myself, similar to Samuel's. But in my sense, actually, I normally have a very great example of how people can use the Power Platform, most especially if I'm having a conversation with students. So as a student, you go to university or you go to school and obviously you're trying to get your degree or your diploma, whichever qualification that you're getting. And some days you might be feeling great, and some days you might be feeling a bit low. And in some instances, a lot of people would then need some motivation from their friends or from their mentors and all of those things. And in most cases, some of our friends are not really there to motivate us. So what I normally do is I actually give students an idea of how they can use Power Automate to actually automate that entire process in terms of they just sending themselves motivation or motivational quotes each and every single day using Power Automate. Just build a reoccurring flow and then obviously put your specific quotes that you like or that you think you would like to hear during the week when you're going to campus so that you can understand that it will actually make you feel much more better than you did when you woke up instead of having a time where you have to wait for someone who's a close friend of yours that you have to wait for them to say something to you. Say something to yourself using Power Automate or using technology. It will be a constant reminder, as much as it seems like a very simple solution, but it will be a constant reminder to you of how great technology can be used and what are the different aspects that you can venture into. You don't necessarily have to actually go through the lens of building a business specific solution. You can start small by trying to motivate yourself to build something. Then you can build on top of that. And another solution that I built, which is one I actually mentioned, was actually out of frustration from my university and the stuff that they were doing with their processes around COVID-19. So I just built an app personally that would allow me to do a health check similar to what that USSD code did. But in this case, because at the time before I joined Microsoft, even last year, there were not much resources around building better looking Power Apps. You would actually see a Power App that it's a Power App instead of seeing it as a mobile app. So I just took an opportunity to build that app and try to make it look much more of an app than a Power App and made it look much more beautiful, had a better user experience and all of those things. It's a simple app in terms of functionality, but in terms of the interface, it's a bit complicated. Not too complicated, but obviously I wanted to make it much more beautiful. But again, like I said, if you want to build something cool and you want to build it for yourself, there's endless possibilities using the Power Platform or using Power Apps specifically. But the one that is very simple that I want you to use in terms of whatever you're going through, even if you're not a student and you are working or you're not working and all of those things, just build that solution. Give yourself motivation every day. Receive a text message because most of the time we can undermine how much we use our phones, but we are very much receptive to when we are receiving a notification ourselves on our cell phones or on our emails. So you actually see that this is the email that's coming from Power Automate and it's telling me this today. I feel good. Actually, let me venture into Power Automate and see what else can I build that will actually make my life even much more better. So stuff like that. And in terms of trying to automate a specific need or a specific process, that's to improve your productivity. So if you are a student or not even a student, you can, if you're part of a hackathon, for an example, the one that Julia is currently running, which is the Connector Hackathon, you can actually just build a Power Automate flow to just listen in on your mailbox, for an example. That mailbox or the Power Automate flow will be looking at a specific subject line. For an example, if you receive emails that have bootcamp or that have hackathon in the subject line and they have attachments, you can use the Power Automate flow to pull the attachments from that email and the message from that email and put it up onto Teams or send it on a different place that should actually have easier access to than you wanting to check your email. So there's different things that you can do to improve your productivity. So if you're part of a hackathon, this is a great idea for you. Instead of checking your emails constantly, you'll always just try to make it to send you a message on Teams, and you then see it on your own and have it on a centralized place.
Sombeleze, thank you so much. That's an amazing idea. Actually, I discovered when I started programming, like I am a programmer who's trying to run away to the Power Platform world. So like when I was programming, I would rarely have ideas of what to build. But when I would join hackathons, you get to work with people and you get to open your minds. So I'd say joining the hackathon is a better chance of learning how to build cool stuff. So maybe let me move on to Olan Rawaju. Maybe from a data analyst background, I'm so sure you build cool stuff with data analytics and visualization. Probably, what are some of the cool things that you've built outside the business realm that can help the community, for example, or it's just a way of having fun?
Thanks, Saros. So speaking to this, let me look at what I can share, because at the early stage of my career, when I started working, I started as a data analyst on job. So I wasn't in the settings of people who were learning and building solution, and then through their solution showcasing and maybe they got employment. No, I got a job and I was put on a project and I was told that you have to learn SQL and Power BI to perform on this role. So literally, it was the company data project I was using to learn and build portfolios and do that much. However, I've trained a couple of people on projects. So if I look back now on some of the projects, I think I can reference, the most I can reference are machine learning related data science projects, which I have actually trained people, model deployment. For example, car valuation. We built a model, I trained people how to build a model that can tell you the price of your car. So when you put the car model, the year, the make, they tell you, if you want to resell this car, this is how much in dollars you can resell it. And it was deployed so much that you can interact with it in the front end, put the value of your car, your model, and I was just trying to show people how they can still contribute to the insurance sector. Because one of the pain points in insurance when it comes to digital transformation is how can I buy insurance policy without visiting your office or without you coming to me? In the past, when you buy insurance motor policy, they will come meet you to inspect your car where you are. And it's after they are done with car inspection that your policy certificate can be available. And it could take 2 days to do car inspection, depending on where you are living, where you are staying. And if they have agents and staff close to you. So, meaning they cannot do end-to-end transaction on their website. And what is causing that is because they cannot tell the value and the worth of your car. So if they are able to tell the value and the worth of your car, they'll be able to determine the premium that you will pay. So it is until they come over there to inspect your car, that is when they can then say, this is the premium you are paying, this is this and that, then go ahead, because your car valuation matters. And that model simply help them, okay, if you put the car details and everything and you see that, oh, if it's this car, this is the mileage, these are the details, this is the worth of this car. And once they know the worth of the car, they can apply the rate and get the premium, and you can book end-to-end in a matter of minutes. What should have taken days. So that's just one of the things. I have a couple of other, but that's just what I would like to share. But when it comes to Power Platform, Power Apps Driven Solution, I did a lot of solutions within the organization, but I would say the use cases I did are so interesting. They're in my course. I have a course on Udemy, 15 plus Power Automate business use cases that I put out there on Udemy. I often give people on training. The last event I gave voucher to people for that course. I will think about giving voucher to the course to people on this call. And one thing I did there that was really interesting that worth exploring is filling a Microsoft form. Is a process where you fill a form and you use that form to update your SQL database. So maybe people are ordering, you have a business, people are ordering something, or within your organization, there's a data you need to collect, and people order or place order and fill the form. And the details from that form, you need to update a Microsoft SQL database or any form of database. And I did that Power Automate flow where if you fill the form, it goes ahead and updates your database. We don't have much of use cases like that, and what I try to demonstrate there is you can talk to your database using Power Automate without even saying Power Apps. And not just Microsoft, not just Excel, not just SharePoint lists that people often use in demos, but actually you can talk real time to that database. I also did one where you can spool report automatically at the end of the week. Say every Friday, the report of your training from SQL database automatically is going to spool it and it's going to convert it to table, send it to you via email, or if you want it to be in Excel, send it to you as an Excel sheet. If you want it to appear automatically on your SharePoint list, it goes to that SharePoint list. I was just trying to demonstrate to people that, okay, you can work more with these same databases. So don't just limit yourself to Excel and SharePoint list as major data sources you use in your solution. Meanwhile, organization, they will have database where they have data there, and the report they need might not even be in Excel. They might, how do we automate report generation, spooling of some things from that SQL database? So that use case kind of point people to how to get it done, and that's just what I'd like to talk about.
Thank you so much for sharing, Orlando. That's amazing. In regards to the project you mentioned, I think I'll be giving a visit to so many insurance companies in Kenya. Yeah, that's something they really need. So that's a good start for people to start innovating from. I'd like to hear Bronson. Probably what are some of the cool things that you've built here in Kenya, considering we had an app challenge, Shadrach. We were supposed to build an app for the Global Power Platform Bootcamp before next year. So I hope we're still doing that. And I think we can borrow ideas that we can showcase in next year's Global Power Platform Bootcamp. Okay, thank you, Bronson. I think we can pick it up.
I think having done something cool for myself, maybe Nash will consider doing that. But maybe the coolest thing I've done for myself is a reminder to clients to pay sends invoices automatically after a certain period. I have my own period of time after I've worked to remind my clients to pay. That's the coolest thing because money is cool to me in that regard. But I've done a couple of things for clients maybe, but for myself, I haven't done anything cool. As far as the meaning of cool is concerned.
That's very cool. Actually, one of the stresses of being a developer is chasing the client. As a developer, you always have to chase the client. So writing up a Power Platform script that always reminds the client, oh, that's amazing.
That's also I'm trying to, there's one that I'm working for myself, but still underway. I'm trying to pull all those monthly M-Pesa statements, saving it on something on a SQL. Then now I want to pull a specific data and able to analyze my own spending on M-Pesa so that I can have more of a budget tracker, but specifically for my M-Pesa transactions. But haven't finished yet. It's still underway.
Is it something that's gonna be, we can download it and then we can use our own M-Pesa messages to draft up?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Wow, that's a startup coming up, yeah?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Anyway, I think before handing it over back to Shadrach, we have a question. Ash has been having a pending question all through, and I'd like to give this opportunity to ask. Ash, I think you can start off, but if you also have any other question, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll be getting to them as we continue.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the floor. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Ash. I'm joining from the DRC in Central Africa. I've been following the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador group since 1 month now, and I really enjoy the meetings. Actually, I don't know that much about Power Platform, but I find it's really interesting because I have a lot of ideas, but as long as I don't have strong, say, knowledge in programming yet, a lot of them I forget them without writing them. But I find that if I have a little bit of knowledge with Power Platform, I can really bring those ideas to life much easier and much quicker. So I'd like to know how long does that can it take me to learn the way to use Power Platform, and um, and if there is resources which are really appropriate for that case, they will be the most welcome, so that I may start using them. Thank you so much.
Cyrus, you're on mute.
Thank you, Shadrach. Yeah, I think I was saying thank you so much, Ash, for the question. I'm going to throw this over to Shadrach. Shadrach has PL 900, so he's certified in Power Platform. And he will give you like a better detailed way. I'm going to share the link to the Learn Microsoft Docs Learn in the chat, so that you can be able to get and see the learning path detailed by the docs, the Microsoft Docs. And Shadrach can help you like understand the key points along your development journey. Thank you. Shadrach, I think you can pick it up from here.
Oh, okay, so, and actually, like, one of the good thing about that question is that I got some motivation from Ola. So like last month we had a call that was talking about the rise of citizen developer, and some of the cool things that he mentioned about how to build a portfolio, or like just the best way to learn. So like we have some stacks where you need to understand as a Power Platform developer. So like I guess I can share the screenshot for that slide that Ola presented last for our last call. So like learning, I can just say like it's very the best approach is to have like project-based learning. So like that is the best way to learn. So like you can be able to understand the key perspectives of Power Platform. So like for instance, if it's Dataverse, we have like a specific learning path where you can be able to build a project that as Microsoft Dataverse, like having as a point of data storage, and also like you can be able to also like leverage on other functionalities that you can be able to build your application. But like the best people who can be able to answer this question are Someleze and Ola, since they are mostly involved with the upskilling of students with Power Platform as the cloud advocates at Microsoft. So like they can be able to just touch on like a bit on that also.
Yeah, I'll just touch a little bit on it. So what Homo and I normally say whenever that question pops up is that it's normally dependent on the person who's trying to learn about the Power Platform. So in terms of how you learn and in terms of how much you can understand in a specific period of time, it depends on you. Because for an example, I cannot say it will take you a week to learn about the Power Platform. You may need longer, you may need a shorter time. For me personally, when I started with the Power Platform, it necessarily just took me about a week to build an app using Power Apps, but obviously it was just a simple app and not much more complicated. But if you want to have a much more complicated app or much more complicated solution, obviously you would need to research a little bit further and obviously take a little bit much more time. So in a span of a month, you probably would have a complete solution based off of your obviously your requirements and also based off of your interaction or based off of whatever need you have for that solution. But it's dependent on you. I think with the learning path that Cyrus has shared on the chat, you can necessarily just take about a week to go through the learning material, because obviously for me, I don't know about Cyrus or Shadrach, in a case where you write the PL 900 fundamentals exam, it took me a week to complete that learning path and have the basics around the Power Platform. But if you want to further that theoretical aspect of it and you want to employ your knowledge and the theoretical practice, and you want to put it into action, then obviously it will take you probably 2 weeks. And what I love about, for an example, if you want to build an app using Power Apps, is that we have a new feature within Power Apps called Express Design, where you can build an app from an image that you drew or from a Figma wireframe design that you had on Figma. So the opportunities are endless, but also in terms of learning, it's dependent on you.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so
okay,
much
okay.
for really relevant. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. And also like there's been some links that has been shared on the chat window. So like you can just be able to have a look at them. And also like there is an image about what I've shared about the most key important things that as you continue like learning Power Platform, you will be able to start with them also. So, and then just as we're almost winding up, let me just ask just about one more question about we have the technological advancements that are like such as AI, and also like something about which Cyrus talked about IoT, where you can just be able to have Power Platform and also IoT. So if we've got IoT developers in the house right now, so like there are just some cool ways that you're able to implement the already knowledge that you have on IoT and also build on Power Platform. So are there like technological advancements such as AI shaping the local development? Bearing in mind we have the AI builder that is within the Microsoft Power Platform that enables business to add artificial intelligence into their business processes. So like what's kind of the future of like these technological advancements in Power Platform? So like we can start with Bronson, and then we have Sumelezi, and then lastly Ola.
Yeah, hello. For the technical advancement in regards to AI in Power Platform, I think I do appreciate especially the AI builder feature that was added on Power Platform. Recently, for Kenyans, we were just from election, and if you remember, we had a lot of confusion around the forms. Every political divide had their own numbers. But for some of us tried downloading the forms and trying to do our own tallies, and like I did appreciate like the form recognizer where you utilize that the OCR abilities to read the numbers and able to crunch and have at least your own tally. So the technical advancements of artificial intelligence in Power Platform, I do believe it's a key changer, and it will help in a lot of things. There's a project also we tried working, though it wasn't successful because we opted for other means. But we are trying to have get use of Internet of Things, the Internet of Things, that is Internet IoT, and we are trying to connect our smart water devices do communicate and they send data. The automation was that they send data from the smart water meter now to IoT hub. Then though there was more of, also custom connectors that we built, that the communication was to send data now to IoT hub. Then from there we do then from there we're able to ingest the data and digest it, and also visualize the data and able to send it now to the client. So there's a lot of things that we can utilize with artificial intelligence that are now open on Power Platform. And I think the future of AI on Power Platform is bright, and we're heading somewhere.
Awesome. Sumelezi?
Yeah, so I don't have much to add on that, but I just have one thing to remind people on. We spoke about Fusion development. As much as we spoke about Fusion development, we talked about custom connectors and said that's how you can implement Fusion development onto the Power Platform. That's just one way of implementing Fusion development onto the Power Platform. Another one is the one that Bronso that's actually has just mentioned just now. Obviously, for you to be able to connect your IoT devices and do all of those kinds of things, you need to have some technical background in some respect if you want to do those complicated IoT solutions. And then if you want to bring it back to the Power Platform. So what Bronso was doing in that specific sense is also called Fusion development. It's not just focused on custom connectors, but it's also focused on how you actually bring all of the other concepts that would need someone to have a technical background together with the Power Platform. So in terms of artificial intelligence, we're not just really limited to AI Builder within the Power Platform. There is other avenues that a person can venture into. There is one solution that actually was built by a student ambassador that they were using the customvision.ai platform, also a Microsoft technology, but obviously it needs you to have a little bit of a technical background in conjunction with Azure to build a diabetic retinopathy detector. So that detector was actually an application built with Power Apps, but obviously that model or that AI model was actually built using customvision.ai, and also it was also using Microsoft Azure as well. So you are building the solution, and it has all these moving parts or different kinds of parts into it. So that is Fusion development. That's the element of Fusion development. And you can see from this example that I am sharing with you, obviously I'll share the link too on the chat, that even with artificial intelligence, you are not limited to AI Builder. You can go into other avenues that you're already used to, like for an example, using Azure or using customvision.ai. And if I can remember correctly, even I think back in 2021, Jefflet and I actually were working on as student ambassadors. We were working on specific projects with Lee Stott. And one of those projects, or both of those projects, actually had an AI element, and it was not just down the route of using AI Builder, but it was down the route of using existing platforms already there that people already know of. For an example, if you're a professional developer, or even if you're not, like for an example, the Q&A maker.ai platform, where you build your knowledge base and then obviously trying to get to send, let's say for an example, HTTP requests and have a chatbot onto Teams. That would need a little much more hands-on experience around building solutions with the Power Platform. But that solution itself was bringing in an AI element outside AI Builder. So obviously I just gave you two examples, which means that the future of artificial intelligence within the Power Platform, like Bronso said, is bright, and it's already blooming even now because there's so many things that you can do using the Power Platform. You can integrate your models with your Power Platform or with your Power Platform solution, either a Power App or a Power Automate flow. And in terms of IoT as well, you can, like Bronso has said, a very great example. Even Samuel would then be a very great example too in terms of using IoT with the Power Platform. There's so many things that you can do with the Power Platform and in conjunction with IoT or artificial intelligence for that matter, even machine learning, imagine.
Yes. Thank you so much, Someleza. So last but not least, we can have Ola before we wind up the session.
All right, thank you guys. So I'm just going to, a lot has been said around the future of AI into Power Platform, but I'm going to mention just one cool feature in Power Apps. It should have been in your environment now. It's called the IDEA, leveraging on the GPT-3. And it just shows another use case of, this AI within Power Platform. And what is that? It's simply AI, just like GitHub Copilot within, Microsoft Power Apps, where you are building an app and you want to write a function, you want a button to behave somehow, but you don't know how to write that expression. You can easily go ahead and type what you want to do, and automatically it's going to tell you the function, going to show you the function with the context of what you are building. It's not just to show you the function and you now start struggling, where do I put the table? No. When it's showing you the function is working. So you just copy and put in the formula bar, and the button will behave the way you want it to behave, as far as you ask the question the right way. You can see how AI is also being leveraged on, to support, integrate in terms of providing additional feature within Power Apps. This same thing is coming to Power BI as well, where you're able to type in what you want to do. In fact, in terms of natural language processing, it's already there in question and answer within Power BI, where you type in sales, for so, and it's going to build the dashboard for you, it's going to build the chart for you, table for you. This same thing is already in Excel under, analyze data, where you type in something and it just automatically look into your data, analyze the data for you, and show you what you want. So in Power Apps specifically, you see that there under Idea tab. And that, I think, is a cool feature where AI is being integrated into Power Platform.
Okay, thank you so much. So I guess we are at the end of the session. So I can just give you probably 1 minute, 2 minutes to just give a parting shot and probably just talk about what do you think about the future development of citizen developers in Africa and across the world. So we can just have a parting shot and maybe just your final words to the community, and also how they can be able to get started with learning and also building apps with Power Platform. So we can start with Bronson.
Sorry for my lighting. I believe I believe the future is bright. The future is bright for citizen developers. The aim and goal should not just be settled on just having basic skills on developing simple application, but the goal should be more progressive in having developed more complex, more sophisticated and cool applications. And they say innovation is not just technology. Technology is the tool that we use for innovations. So at times as developers, we tend to overlook and overthink upon some things, but we can try to solve the simplest things around us using by leveraging on Power Platform. And for those with the CS background, those pro developers, because most of even now the Power Platform developers are just programmers and ex-developers. So we should, for the ex-programmers and for the pro developers, we should cultivate more and recruit more citizen developers for a better Africa, for more of a digital transformation across our enterprise and even communities. There is a documentary I was watching that some NGO, I think it's not in Kenya, it was in Tanzania, where they leveraged Power Platform in the conservancy of turtles at the coast. So we let us not just envisage on looking at enterprises, but we can look even around our communities and try to solve more problems. I've seen all has been sharing great ideas, and I was like, oh wow. So there is more power, there's more room for us to develop more and be more innovative and leverage with the technology that we have here by Microsoft, that is Power Platform. I think thanks, and also I want to say thank you to Shadrach and team for giving me this opportunity to come and share my experiences. As we have gathered, I've learned a lot from my colleagues, that is Iko and Ola, and also from other people who have also contributed, even from the chats and those who have been able to have a chance to speak. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Bronson. We can have Ola.
One thing I'm going to say here is this: the future is full of abundance, and Power Automate or Power Platform can actually deliver to you the desired career growth. And I'm saying this. I have been a data scientist. I have been a data analyst. I have done the Power Platform. I have wanted to work at Microsoft. I've wanted to work at big companies and see that this is possible for me, despite my background and where I came from in Nigeria. Data science as a skill and project I've done could not get me there. Data analysis as a project that I've done could not get me there and as a skill. But Power Platform got me there, made it possible for me to find myself at Microsoft. So whatsoever your dream and your career is, I believe Power Platform can help you achieve it. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh,
I had to say, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for those encouraging words.
yeah, okay. So we can just have a parting shot about.
I guess I'm next.
Yes.
Okay. I think you should like cut off a little bit, so I was a bit confused. But anyways, Olarawaju has actually said everything, and obviously even Bronso as well has also said everything that I could possibly say as well. Just like Shedrick and Cyrus have already mentioned on the chat, and also when we were still speaking about this, in terms of you building solutions around the Power Platform, just try to make sure that you document everything that you actually do around the Power Platform, even if it's just a simple app, even if it's just a simple Power Automate flow, even if it's just a simple dashboard. You just document it, post it on Twitter or your LinkedIn. You will see that you will get engagements from us. You will see that you get engagements from other people where they would actually give you pointers around you've built a dashboard, they'll give you a pointer around how to build a better dashboard or how to build much more comprehensive dashboards and all of those things. So documenting your learnings is very important, because if, for an example, now you get called to an interview and they want you to showcase your skills or they want you to talk about the things that you've done, you can just refer them to the blogs or to the things that you've written on LinkedIn or Twitter, and you show them that this is what I've done. And also, this is what I've built using the Power Platform, either personally or either for a client. So just make sure that you document those. And also, in terms of learning, don't feel like you are overwhelmed with knowledge. Don't feel like you are not good enough in a specific aspect. Always try to make sure that you are getting on top of any challenge that is actually presented to you. Why am I saying this? Is that in my journey, as much as when I got into IT, obviously in my university, as much as I got into it and I started building stuff and I started passing and I completed my qualification, before I came to university, I wanted to become something else and I didn't know anything about IT or anything about technology for that matter. But because I was presented an opportunity to actually learn more about technology and learn more about everything that is within software development and other soft skills, I actually made most of that challenge. And I said, challenge accepted. I'm gonna become better at doing this. I'm gonna improve each and every single day. So if you are presented with a challenge and also an opportunity, just make sure that you get on top of that challenge and you complete it with your best efforts. Don't overwork yourself. Don't burn yourself out. Just put in your best effort, complete that challenge if you have a challenge as much as you can to your best capabilities, and you will see wonders working for you.
Thank you so much, Someleze. you've given like deeper meaning to what Olarenju has given us. Sometimes as developers or as students of life, you always tend to feel overwhelmed. But the advice you've given us is to take it easy, to absorb it a step at a time, and to work it till it works. I think I have gotten amazing points from you. And with that, I think we can call this a wrap to our meeting. I don't know if Shadrach is there. I'm going to hand it over to Shadrach, co-lead, to wrap this meeting. It's been a good pleasure to have this amazing hosts. I'm so happy from the reactions we've gotten on Twitter and on the chats. Feel free to keep tweeting. We're going to have these fireside chats often. I think Shadrach is not around. He probably dropped. He's there? Yeah, he's there.
Yeah. I'm back.
Yeah, I think you can take it over and we can wrap it up. Thank you.
So thank you so much. Sorry, I dropped off the call. So thank you so much, Someleze, Ola, and Bronson for taking off your time and bearing in mind like you've got busy schedules. So like just to have this fireside chat. So I guess we'll be having more of this. So like so that you can be able to get to answer like some of the questions. Like since we do not have like more time, so perhaps next time we're going to take questions from the audience also and be able to get to understand about Power Platform. So all I can just say is that like one of my favorite quotes from one of my mentors called Pratik Roy, is a senior cloud security at Microsoft. Like he said, when was the last time you did something for the first time? So just digest that and like try out new things like on Power Platform. Just add the Power Platform knowledge onto what you already have and never get tired of learning. So like learning is always a process. So like hopefully I can be able to see also like some of the connectors being published by Africans on the like 30 days of Fusion. So like hopefully I can be able to see like you building data connectors that can be able to enable the citizen developers to build business solutions. So I guess that's it. And like the links are on the chat window. And also like remember to join our user group so that you can be able to get notifications. So in a fortnight, we'll be having a session on building models on Power BI. So if you're so much interested in Power BI building dashboards, so like this is the best call for you. So I guess we're going to end there. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for our great speakers. We've gotten lots of knowledge out of this just 1 hour 30 minutes. So hopefully I can be able to see you guys in our next event. So like in a fortnight, we'll be having another session. So bye for today. So see you then.
Thank you, Shadrach. Thank you, Someleze. Thank you, Olandraju. Thank you, Bronson. Thank you, Gifts.